Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce on stage once again, Jag just covered the topic of NFT and art, and this is exactly what our speaker is going to be talking about more specifically during her session. She's the co-founder and SVP of Strategy and Communications at Revuto, Josipa Majić.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the lunch. Revuto was the sponsor, so I hope you all had a lovely time in networking. My name is Josipa Majić. I'm the co-founder and head of strategy and communication for Revuto. And today I'll be reintroducing, so for those of you who are in the previous session, what Revuto is and why are we here today. And in the end, we'll talk a bit about investing in pre-ICO startups and how to support those companies. So first of all, for those of you who don't know, Revuto is an active subscription management company. What that means is that we help you to manage all of those subscriptions like Netflix and Spotify every day as they come along. So what's happening currently, and we've talked about this in the previous session, is that subscriptions are everywhere around us. And what used to be a really good deal for the end users, which is to buy a bunch of movies and a bunch of videos and music for just a couple of dollars, is now no longer such a good deal for the consumers. What's happening is if you want to enjoy Squid Game, but you also want to watch Billions, and you also want to watch several other movies, you don't only have one subscription account, you actually have multiple ones. So what's happening is that the seasonality is getting really profound, but where that's even more accentuated is actually in the B2B space, especially for SaaS tools, such as tools for design, development, etc. So what's happening as a result everywhere around the world is that people are paying for all these subscriptions every month, but they only use them a couple of months. Specifically, consumers use them only 6 to 8 months, while businesses typically use them even less than that. So what happens with all of that waste, and why are we paying for it? Well, the mechanism behind it is really something that every startup founder and every investor already knows, which is if you have a subscription-based revenue, you actually get a better valuation. So what everyone is doing is turning to a subscription-based model. If we think about insurance companies, they're now getting on board, but what's really interesting is subscriptions today are not only music and videos, they are hardware, it's your car, it's everything around you. Everyone is getting to the model. And what's happening is that us as consumers are getting more burden as it's coming in. And what we at Revuto believe in is that the pendulum will swing the other way around. So we want to bring control back into the hands of consumers. The way we do it in the back end is that we issue virtual debit cards, one per every subscription that you have, and you can receive a simple notification each month saying, do you want to block, snooze, or approve a payment that you're receiving? For example, Netflix wants to charge $9.99 this month, but you know you're going to be in Dubai, you're going to enjoy a beautiful conference, and you're going to have a wonderful time, so you'll have no need for Netflix, so you can just block it. What happens in the back end is that you simply don't top up your virtual debit card, and Netflix sees a card that is valid but is empty. So what's happening is that they're not canceling your account, they're not unsubscribing you, they're simply suspending the service that you're providing. So in that simple way, you get to not pay the service, but still remain all of your account and still remain all of your data. If you, for example, approve it, what happens is that you top up your virtual debit card just in the time when your Netflix payment is due, and you get to enjoy it seamlessly. What snoozing is postponing that same decision for a couple of days or a couple of hours. Now, where does crypto fit into all of this? Well, we thought about crypto right from the early days of our company, and it was actually a part from the story all along. As you know, the problem with subscription is something everyone in the audience can probably identify with, because everyone has a subscription that they forgot, everyone has at least one notification in their banking account of a subscription provider they don't even remember subscribing to. What's happening and what we want to do is, first of all, we want to allow you to pay for subscriptions with crypto. We also want to allow you to actually stake Revu, our native token, and enjoy subscriptions for life. We don't think you should be worrying about all of these things, especially at the rate that they're growing, which is 100% year over year. But also we want to offer micro-lending and borrowing. So if you're, for example, our classical consumer, which is a Gen Z individual, spending most of their pocket money on things like Twitch, on things like other subscription services, if you don't have the funds for your favorite subscription, you can borrow them at a cost. And if you have extra, you can lend it to someone else and actually earn it. So that's the basic functionality of our DeFi setup. And what was really interesting is that we were the first ever ICO on Cardano. Cardano is, as you probably know, a third-generation blockchain. And it was a very good fit for us because of the security, but also the efficiency of transactions, because obviously some of the other popular blockchains like Ethereum were never an option because of the high gas fees. We were one of the only, in the first multi-million deals in 2021, and it was a very anticipated, oversubscribed ICO that went out in minutes. To talk a bit about the numbers that we have in our community, as you can imagine, this is a problem that everyone has. But what's really interesting is that apart from raising $10 million US, in a matter of weeks, we have a 3 million users sign up for our service, which is completely global. We already have 200K users in a matter of weeks. And our Telegram and Twitter community, which, by the way, if you're not a part of, you should definitely follow us right now, is one of the highest growing communities, especially in the Cardano space, but even beyond that in crypto in general. But that's not where we want to start. We actually want to be a part and nurture the biggest community of builders on Cardano. And we have a couple of ways in which we want to do it. The first thing is our R Fund. Our R Fund is a VC initiative where we get to invest in pre-ICO companies, so as early as an idea, and we get to be the first capital that comes into that company. What's very interesting and what we experienced alone is that founders nowadays, they don't need cash. Everyone who is a solid founder already has an abundance of cash. The current macro setup is definitely fueling that even further. VCs have enough dry powder to fund every high-quality company in the world. But what's happening is that the best founders want you to help them grow their business. And what we discovered and we've built through our ecosystem is actually a number of partners that help you to implement our know-how and that help you grow. What we mean by that is setting up everything that we talked about earlier today, from legal, operational, tech, financial support. It's something that we can do, and it's something that we've proven on our product alone. What we also see a lot, especially in the companies that are in the pre-ICO stage, is that they actually look at the ICO event as a fundraising event, whereas we don't see it like that at all. So what's currently happening with the VC space, and I don't know how many of you, probably a lot of you have either raised money from VCs or are part of a VC alone, what's happening a lot, especially in the fintech space, is that companies raise a bunch of money. They spend half of that money on marketing. That money goes into acquiring users. Those users are low quality. They churn insanely. And you have a continuous problem where you both sold a huge equity of your company, you also acquired bad users, and you're spending a ton of money on marketing. What we discovered during our ICO event is that ICOs are completely misunderstood. We think ICOs are an incredible event where you don't only fundraise, but you also acquire your best users, your early adopters, you create your strongest and most active community, and you also hire the best people that are interested in this space and that really understand and relate to the problem. This specific know-how is something that we've really felt on our team in general, and that here in the audience you can see some of our team members that have done just that. So we've really turned the ICO event into something that isn't only a fundraising event, but it's actually where you create the building blocks of your entire business. How to apply? What's interesting about the R Fund is that we haven't even announced the application form, so it's completely happening behind doors, but through word of mouth alone, we've gotten some of the best deals that are happening on Cardano and in the DeFi space in general. And by the end of this year, we'll have several investments announced and several ICOs happening that we'll be supporting on a technical, legal, financial, and operational way. These are some of the companies attacking not only the subscription base, the subscription space alone, but also some of the problems that really surround these mainstream users. So we're not looking at crypto as a subsegment, but for a lot of the users that are on our 3 million sign-up list, they don't even know what crypto is. For some of them, they just want to manage their subscriptions alone. So we're trying to build an ecosystem around that product and really fund the best companies that are relevant to building those types of products and solving that problem. What we also have is an R Fund Scout program. What that means is that this is probably the best audience in the world in terms of knowing and finding the best companies, especially those that are either building on Cardano or attacking a problem that is very relevant to the subscription space. So if you want to get involved into the R Fund Scouting program, please do get in touch. Either we have a booth right outside this main door. You can see a big sign, Revuto, pay subscriptions with crypto. Or you can reach out on our email to be a part of the program and to refer us some of the best and the smartest companies that you know. This would be all from me today. I would again invite you all to visit our booth, talk to our team, follow us on social media channels, and I would like to welcome any questions from the audience.
My question is, do the debit cards themselves or the prepaid cards work internationally? Just because
Yes.
there are limitations across
Yeah,
borders.
yeah. So the interesting part, and we get this question a lot, is what if the Netflixes of the world put you on a blacklist or ban you? What's interesting about our system is that we actually issue MasterCard and Visa cards, virtual debit cards, around the world. So the way that it works in the back end is that we have a fintech part of the business and a crypto part. In the fintech part, we have several different issuers that are helping us to issue these cards, which are in the approved MasterCard and Visa program. So from a perspective of Netflix, all that they see is that this is a regular MasterCard card. They don't know it's a Revuto card. And the country of origin is the one that we operate in. So for example, if you're part of the Eurozone, which is the first country that we've launched, then you have a Eurozone virtual debit card. We'll be expanding to Southeast Asia after that, and then we have global ambitions, but the timelines are difficult to predict because negotiating with issuers is slightly more complex and regulated compared to our crypto roadmap. But essentially, exactly that. So on the back end, if you're Netflix, if you're a Spotify, you don't even see that this is a virtual debit card issued by Revuto. You see a MasterCard or a Visa card that in the case when you, for example, start a free trial, they don't know if there are any funds on there on the card or not. And we simply top it up just in time of your billing cycle, and we do it by sending you a push notification. Thank you. Any other questions? In case, yes, there's a question in the back. Sure. Yeah, on the revenue model. So that's an interesting question. We have a revenue model for our fintech part, which I can explain now. So essentially on the fintech part, we have two products. One is for regular users, which we call just Revuto, and one is Revuto Pro, which is typically used by small and medium businesses or power users. For the individual users, the entire service is completely free for up to 4 subscriptions. So what that means is that every time that you create a virtual debit card, sign up for new subscriptions, you don't pay anything. When you approve a payment, so for example, when you click approve on $9.99 for Netflix, we take a small 4% protection fee, which is kind of a classic in the industry. But when you block it or you snooze it, we don't charge anything. So we only charge when you actually approve a payment and based on how much you approve. For the pro users, which have anywhere from 10 to 25 subscriptions, which are typically your Bloombergs of the world, your development, marketing, design tools, so more expensive SaaS tools, then we charge a flat fee, which differs based on the country that you're in. And it typically helps you to manage everything in a more simple way, and it also offers you more functionalities in terms of, as we call it, completely free trials, because there are free trials that aren't that free, which I think everyone knows, because it's much easier to subscribe than to unsubscribe for a free trial. But with the Revuto Pro program, you're actually protected because you have an empty virtual debit card you can put wherever. So you will never get charged unless you explicitly say yes to it. So that's our business model. Thank you very much. Any other questions? I think we have one in the back. Yeah. Sure, you can shout, yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear the last part. I'm sorry. The mic is coming. Yeah.
The question is, using the debit card to snooze or to pay, what is stopping Amazon Prime or Netflix from implementing it from their own side, rather than going through Revuto?
That's an excellent question. And what's stopping that is a bunch of revenue that they're collecting from you. So if any of you are interested in reading, for example, the S1 of Spotify, essentially a document that companies publish before they go public, is that it's, for example, let's take Spotify as an example. In developed markets, such as the Nordic part of Europe, you have up to 10% of your user base which is paying for the service and not even logging in. So if you have that type of a cash cow, it's not really in your interest to kill it, because all of these companies, especially subscription-based companies, they're already committed to the narrative of continuous growth, and that's what they sell to their investors. So what's happening is that we're actually the enemy for them, because we want to, as we said earlier, we want to swing the pendulum back and put the hands put the control in the hands of consumers. So what's stopping them is really a bunch of revenue that they're already collecting from inactive users that are not even logged in. And although they know that some kind of volume-based pricing instead of a flat fee is coming sooner rather than later, you can't expect them to self-cannibalize that type of revenue, because it's really a sweet revenue. So what do we know for a fact, and we've talked to, we have very good connections with several of the biggest subscription providers in the world, is that they know for a fact, especially in developed markets, there are huge chunks of inactive users that are some of the most regular payers. So that's why they don't want to kill that part of the user base. They just want to grow. So we know for a fact that there'll be sort of, we're bound to have a dynamic and interesting relationship with the subscription providers, but because of the fact that that's the hand that's feeding them, we know that they won't be issuing a competitor anytime soon. Thank you. I think this is all from me today. Thank you.
We need you on stage.
Okay.
Sorry. This should turn people off from wearing their masks. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Another reminder that you should be wearing your mask, or should I say one last reminder before I come and have a serious talk with you? No, just kidding. We don't want to get in trouble, guys. And, I've been told that, few people are grabbing coffees and just entering out as if life is good. Please stick to the coffee area, because, again, we don't want to be fined. We don't want to get in trouble. Masks on at all time when you're seated, when you're off your seat. Thank you very much in advance. I'd like to introduce the founder. Finally, he's back after doing his welcoming speech in the morning. The founder of World Blockchain Summit. Once again, can we give it up for Mohammed Salim, ladies and gentlemen? Here to present a very special award to, how do you say your name, by the way? I felt like I was saying it wrong.
It's Josipa in Croatian, but everyone calls me
Josipa?
Jos. Everyone calls me Jos, who's not outside of Croatia.
Okay, Josipa.
Yeah, Josipa, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mohammed Salim. Thank you, Josipa.